Oh, we've got royalty. I didn't know we had royalty on the call today.
I don't know about
The,
that.
the question is, you're sitting there going, which one am I referring to?
Yeah.
It's nice to see you, Nick. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, Toby. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm okay.
Good.
Toby, how much progress do you think the Ospreys have made under you over the past 12 months? Have you noticed big improvements?
I'll let you know on Sunday. It's a really difficult question to answer accurately because there's been a lot of transition. There's been a lot of constraints for everybody. So you bring opposition crowds in. It's funny. We played Northampton in our pre-season game. There were some players that had never played in front of a crowd before. So we lose sight of individual journeys and progress. So yeah, we certainly made progress for gaining valuable experience. I think we're obviously 12 months further down the line on an identity and a style of play, which is encouraging. And now we have to recruit and develop us to be better at it. So yeah, I think that we've shown that we're competitive. I think I think everyone would see that. We've just got to strive to be as consistent as we can.
How pleased are you, Toby, with your recruitment this summer?
I'm pleased. Yeah, I think that I've on record about the balance between developing your own, and I'll always continue to do that, along with getting a squad that's robust enough to deal with international call-ups, which is a massive challenge, especially if you add injuries on the top of that. And ones that a group of players that can deliver the sort of rugby that we're trying to aspire to play. So yeah, that's quite a melting pot, as I'm sure you understand. But we're certainly, I think, more able and deeper from a recruitment point of view to be able to do that.
And what are you expecting from the new league? I say new league with the new South African sides? Yeah,
well, I think that obviously, you've seen South Africa, and if they're a byproduct of what you see at the very top, both by reputation, that it's going to certainly increase the physicality of the league. I think from a consistent physicality point of view, there's different challenges around not just COVID but travel, and different surfaces to play on, different hemispheres, and lots of different. I think it's an exciting time. I think it's good for the league. I think people want to challenge themselves against different styles, different teams to see whether you can compete and win.
Toby, is there any news on your injured players, the likes of Justin Tipperick, George North, Dan Lydiot, Dewi Lake? Yeah,
there is. They're obviously progressing. They're obviously long-term injured, those four that you mentioned. They're exactly on schedule. In fact, two of them are in front of schedule, which is good, so that they should be back a little bit earlier. But as you've seen, I'm sure that the question's going to come around Gareth Anscombe, etc., and Alan Wynne and people like that, is they're ready when they're ready. So we take a very player-centred approach to that, especially at the start of the season. And the myth is putting people out there that aren't ready. And if you put people out that aren't ready, they're not going to perform at their best. So it's about making them robust, fixed for good, not just fixed for a week.
Who are the two who are ahead of schedule?
I'm not telling you that. I don't have to. I'm joking. No, it's to be fair, they're all a little bit ahead of schedule, but again, they're still quite a long term. So if you look at where they should be, they're probably ranging between 2 to 4 weeks in front of where they should be. They're all in front of that. But there's obviously lots of consultancies and physical markers that you have to tick off. So they're all sort of 2 to 4 weeks in front of where a normal injury of their type, even though they've got different injuries, would expect them to be at this point.
Michael Collins, how much of an impact has he made around the squad?
Yeah, good. He's very skillful. He's exactly what we required in in our group. He's got good leadership. He's got good experience, and he's a nice complement to a lot of the young players that we've got. And he's a very ambitious player. Wants to play for Wales. So yeah, if you add that ambition with his skill set and his personality, he's a good acquisition for us for sure.
And how was Owen Watkin reacted to being left out by Wales in the summer?
Owen's had feedback from Wales. He knows what he has to do. He knows what he wants to do for the Ospreys. And now the challenge is for him to, as others have done, Adam Beard, for example, is to answer his critics, and he's excited to meet that challenge.
He played really well, didn't he, up in Northampton?
Yeah, no, he did play really well. Having a blend of players in the midfield is really important. And we see Owen probably more as a 12 than a 13, to be fair. So he can physically impose himself on the game. We're excited to see that.
Yeah, last question from me really. If you could pick out 3 players, young players, who you're expecting really to sort of big things from, if you like, this year, who would they be at the Ospreys?
Jack Morgan, for sure. He's been very impressive in training and in the performances that he's given so far. Will Griffiths, who's like a 6'4" back row player, and Rhys Davis probably. They've been very very prominent for us last year, and it's a good challenge for them to kick on.
And can we expect the usual suspects in the league to sort of make the pace in the league, the likes of Munster, Leinster, Ulster, perhaps?
Everyone knows, if you look at the history books, how competitive the Irish teams are. They set the benchmark on consistency and performance, and the challenge for every other country, let alone region, is to get right up there and fight, toe to toe with those sort of players, those sort of teams.
And just the last one from me, with the rebrand, with the team sort of formally involved and everything else like that, does it feel different at all, or is a training park and preparing for a game, the same as it was?
Oh, I think there's definitely some excitement. I think the excitement around the URCs is definitely palatable for certain. I think that people are excited about that. I mean, the original fixture list, we were playing 3 South African teams in week 1, 2 and 3, so that would have been very interesting for us at some point. But obviously that changed, and COVID drove some of those decisions and bits and pieces, and obviously stadiums and lots of different things at play there. But I think there is a genuine excitement around the URC for sure, and it's always nice, and it's one of the reasons that I came to the Ospreys, of not playing the same people year in and year out. Brings a freshness to itself. You add in the European competitions as well. We get an exciting, weekly dose of potentially some things that are different.
It was obviously great to see Gareth back in Northampton. Playing 35 minutes in a pre-season game is obviously very different to playing, maybe starting or being in contention for a league game. I mean, how do you assess his position going into this game? I mean, is he someone that you're considering starting? Well,
he's for the last 3 to 4 weeks, he's trained every minute of every week. So from that's great. And if you like, the game day was, more of a psychological barrier than anything else. And he came through that with flying colours. We were lucky enough that Steve Marler's returned to training, which is good for us. Josh Thomas has returned to training, so that's good for us. And we've got some resources now in that area, whereas probably 4 weeks ago we probably didn't. So from that point of view, it's good, and we can cut our cloth accordingly, which is great.
Is it important for everyone involved to be patient, Gareth included, yourself, because it was great to see him back, but I guess you don't want to get too excited too soon?
I think the only person that really matters in this is Gareth. We all want the same thing, so we have to manage our expectations, manage him, managing his own expectations, and if a result and we can keep him healthy, he'll get better minute by minute.
And just lastly, is there a timescale on Alan Wynne and Adam Beard? Obviously they were with the Lions, so they've had a bigger summer than others.
But they've had their recognised list. They trained they'd had off-feet training programs or away from their training programs to maintain their fitness levels. They're very, very conscientious, as you can imagine, both international British Lion players. So, that time off for them is more as much as a mental recovery and a collision recovery. They've trained fully for 2 weeks, both of them. We'll take a game-by-game approach with them, but they're up and running for sure.
When the fixtures first came out and you saw that you were starting with 2 derby games, 2 big games, did that change anything for you in your preparation at all or anything?
No, not at all. The original list had us, I don't know if you heard, had 3 South African teams, 2 away and then 1 at home. So, we were prepared for what was going to be a monstrous onslaught at the start, from a psychological point of view. And the fact that we get Welsh derbies doesn't change that. We know how important it is to the team, our region, to play these Welsh derbies. And the fact that we've got crowds back, which everyone's looking forward to, adds a little bit more to it as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned the crowds, and you mentioned earlier that some of the players hadn't played in front of crowds before. So to play in a derby, you've obviously had a lot of derbies recently, but to be back into the swing of things with fans, how excited are the players for the prospect?
Yeah, they're just excited in general. I think the fact that this is what they get out of bed for, to challenge themselves against the best in front of people and put their best foot forward. So I think that brings a natural excitement, and as you say, we're starting a new competition with new opposition. So there's a lot of freshness to what everyone's going to experience.